So I've been using this GFX100 now for just over a week, and the thing that has impressed me the most so far is actually the colors that are coming out of this camera. You know, I import them right into Lightroom with no adjustments whatsoever, and they look amazing. Coming from Canon, I think I expected a lot out of this camera because Canon is so widely known as one of the best in terms of color. Everybody loves Canon colors, everybody loves Canon color science. All of that is super important to me in my work because as you know, as a style progresses and evolves, it's something that I really try to hit home in a lot of my images is really beautiful colors, really beautiful editing, and that's kind of how I tell my story as a photographer. So I really expected a lot out of this camera and I'm definitely not disappointed. So let's hop over into Lightroom and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I'm editing these images and showing you how easy it is to actually get beautiful colors with Fuji RAW files. Okay, so here I have 4 images in Lightroom that I took last week. Super excited with how they turned out. This was a shoot with my buddy Gene over in Seattle. And honestly, these are some of my favorite images that I've shot in terms of portraits. This came out great. But what I wanna show you guys is, first right off the bat, we're just gonna flick through these 4 images without any edits. This is what they all look like, and I'm super, super happy with even just how these look already. The colors are great. The runoff between what's in focus and what's not is great. Dynamic range is beautiful. The highlights and shadows look so great. And obviously this has a little bit to do with the actual light that we were shooting in, which was beautiful. Some nice, you know, kind of overcast skies mixed in with some sun, which is my favorite type of light to shoot in. But what we're gonna go and do here is just show you guys how some minor adjustments with these Fuji files actually, you know, it goes a long way. So what we're gonna do first is adjust the tone curve here. And then I like to bring these highlights down. And then I like to add some contrast, like so. Not too much though. That looks pretty good. And then we'll bring the exposure down just so we can see everything. And as you guys can see, I'm sliding this exposure slider up and down and it just reacts so well. I've never seen a Canon file react this way. Could be because of, you know, obviously the image quality is off the charts. But I think also this a lot has to do with the 16-bit color depth in this camera. I shoot 16-bit RAW, so you're gonna get a lot of color and image depth to work with, and I think that is just being shown right here with how well it reacts to even something as simple as the exposure slider. So we're gonna bring that just right about there. And we're gonna actually reduce the highlights, bring up the shadows a little bit. And then I also wanna make this image a bit warmer because I remember this, you know, as like a really warm, glowy morning, not this kind of cold, dark looking image. This looks great. So as you guys can see here with literally 20 seconds of work, it's already a really, really usable file. And that's kind of the whole premise for this entire video, is just showing you guys how easy it is to actually work with these images in Lightroom. This is a quick before and after. We'll go like this, just kind of zoom in. As you can see, the image quality is incredible with this camera. That is, I mean, the main selling point. 102 megapixel medium format sensor is going to give you incredible image quality. But I'm just super happy with how this really simple edit can go a long way with these files. Let's hop over to the next image and we'll do kind of a similar thing. You guys are probably all wondering like, wow, this is such a simple edit. Like I thought his editing process was so much more complicated and sophisticated, and it's really not. It's very simple. I do a lot in camera and before I even import into Lightroom. So I make sure the light is nice. I, you know, coordinate with the model, make sure the outfit matches with what I want to shoot. You know, you really got to pay attention and be kind of like a savant of light almost, where you just are so focused on like how light bounces and how it fills the frame. And that's something that I really try to incorporate into my work a lot. It's just really, really nice, natural light. So we're gonna bring these highlights down again and the shadows up. And then we're gonna also, let's adjust this a little bit more. We're gonna add a little bit of warmth. That looks great. And I want these shadows to be bumped up a lot because I want you to be able to see this really beautiful Seattle skyline in the back. Even though it's out of focus, it really just gives you so much depth because it's like almost, you see the skyline, but it's reflected in the mirror and you got the ferry in the background. It's just beautiful. Super happy with how this one turned out. This is one of my favorites. So we're gonna bring the exposure down here, just like so. And then we're gonna also adjust, we're just gonna straighten this like so. And that looks great. We'll show you a before and after. The after looks great. I'm really pleased with the edit, but what I want you guys to continue to notice is already how good it looks just right out of the camera. So what we're gonna do, even to show you this even further, is we'll take an image. Again, this has no edit applied. I hit reset, no presets, no nothing. And we're gonna do literally 3 things to this image. We're going to change the temperature, which is something I could have already done in camera. So this could have already been fixed. We're gonna adjust the exposure, which again is something I could have fixed in camera. Make that a little bit darker. And then we're gonna add a little bit of contrast. Maybe bring the exposure up just a little bit. But as you can see, I literally did 3 very, very, very simple things to this image, and it already looks so good. The colors look very real, lifelike, great skin tones, really great dynamic range. The highlights and the shadows are both very even. Yeah, just really happy with how such a simple edit. We literally just did exposure, contrast, and white balance, and it already looks this good. So let's go to the next image here. This is a bit of a darker image. We're going to, again, adjust the exposure, bring a little bit of warmth into the image, add some contrast. We're gonna mess with the tone curve here. Looks pretty good. We're gonna bring the highlights down. Great. So I kind of want, obviously, a consistent look throughout this, so that's why I'm doing very similar things to each image, but I want to do it from scratch just to show you guys how simple. Highlights look really good, skin tones look great. Pretty happy with that as well. So let's move on to the 4th and final image. This is a great one. And as you can see, the medium format image quality, amazing. Just simply amazing. We're gonna adjust the highlights again, bring up the lights, bring those darks and shadows down to add some contrast. I'm gonna bump the exposure up a little bit too much. Contrast. And then we need to make this a little bit warmer. Again, doing as much of this in camera is my preferred way of doing things, so I don't have to do all these little tweaks in Lightroom later. But you know, you do as much as you can, obviously, and then you can fix the rest in post. That looks pretty good. I don't love how this is overexposed over here, so I could bring these highlights down, and then now I can finally actually see these windows, because I think that really adds to the frame. I love like the leading lines. You know, you're gonna look at this image and see that these lines right here are leading you right to his face, and he's just right there. He's not even in the center of the frame, which I really like for this image. I don't think you actually really need to be in the center of the frame for every image that's good. That looks great. It's more like on the right side of the image that, you know, provides a lot of negative space, leading lines. And yeah, these colors, man, just are so nice. Very happy with how they turned out. So as you can see, again, we'll do the same thing we did to the image before. We're just gonna adjust literally the white balance, which we could have done in camera. We're gonna add some contrast, and we're going to adjust the exposure. That is all we're gonna do, and it already looks great. You know, and that's really what I wanted to show you guys today, is just how simple these files are. Really excited to kind of explore more and see what is actually possible, which I'm really excited to find out. I just, you know, I think I'm still learning a lot about this camera and what it's capable of. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little tutorial, whatever you want to call it, just showing you guys how excited I am to mess around with these files and continue to make some cool videos for you guys regarding this camera and shooting with Fuji in general. So if you guys have any questions, definitely drop them down below. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one.